In the dead of night, a whisper snakes through the shadowed streets of a once thriving city. Doors creak open. Families cluster around flickering screens, faces ghostly in the blue glow. The news hits like lightning. The currency has collapsed overnight. Banks have bolted their vaults shut, and the life savings of millions are now nothing but digital phantoms vanishing into thin air. By dawn, pandemonium erupts. Endless lines coil around street corners. Fists hammer on reinforced glass. Desperate cries pierce the air as armed guards shove back the surging crowds. One man stands there, gripping a tattered ledger of his decades of hard work, realizing in that moment his entire world has fractured irreparably. But pause, what if this catastrophe isn't the finale? What if it's the spark of a profound revelation? Hidden in the echoes of ancient ruins and forgotten histories lie the clues that could have armored him against this storm. And they might just shield you from the inevitable next one. Every empire swears its treasury is impregnable, its bonds unbreakable and eternal. Yet history unmasks the delusion time and again. From crumbling ancient kingdoms to fragile modern republics, from desert sands to skyscraper jungles, economic awakenings strike fast and without mercy. Fortunes turn to dust, livelihoods gutted, dreams stolen by systems we trusted as rock solid. Collapse isn't a rare glitch, it's the relentless pulse of civilizations. The real puzzle isn't whether economies will crumble, they always do, but how you protect your core when they inevitably do. The illusion of permanence is the most dangerous financial trap. We stare at our bank statements and paper notes, convinced they're carved in granite. But currency isn't granite, it's pure faith, as delicate as morning fog, able to dissolve in an instant. That's why the past is both brutal and essential. Every downfall leaves behind patterns, warnings, and proofs of what truly endures in the rubble and what blows away like worthless chaff. Listen to those who triumphed. They weren't the blind believers. They were the early doubters who saw the cracks forming. Take the mighty Persian Empire, celebrated as the pinnacle of Eastern power that outlasted Greek rivals for centuries. At its heart was the golden derrick, a coin so reliable that merchants from the Mediterranean to the Indus River traded with it without question. The closest thing to a global standard in the ancient world. You'd think they'd learned from Assyria's earlier mistake where kings debased the silver shekel by mixing in cheap copper until it was worthless pretense. But no generations later, Persian rulers repeated the sin with gold. They slowly thinned the derrick's purity, stretching it with inferior alloys. At first, the changes were subtle, whispers ignored. Then trust shattered. The coin that anchored Eurasian trade became a royal joke. Debasement eroded its value, and with it, Persia's economic dominance crumbled. What survived? Not decrees on parchment or imperial edicts. It was the nomads and outsiders who quietly hoarded pure gold bullion or remote lands beyond the king's reach, their wealth intact while everyone else has evaporated. Eternal truth number 1. Governments can't resist the temptation to debase their money. When they do, true value flees to assets they can't print or fake. But not every meltdown comes from kings tampering with coins. Sometimes it barrels in from unpredictable horrors. In late 5th-10th century Iberia, the Great Pox, syphilis, ravaged like nothing before from Seville's docks to Madrid's streets. Between 1493 and 1500, up to a third of the population perished. Villages emptied, ports went silent, trade routes broke. Yet the economic story goes deeper than death tolls. When workers vanish en masse, labor becomes priceless. Survivors demanded and got sky-high wages. Food and land, once scarce, suddenly overflowed relative to the living. Families with any reserves, gold, goods, or just health to work gained massive leverage. Grand estates sold for pennies. Empty houses and untended orchards begged for owners. If this sounds familiar, it should. Our recent pandemic mirrored it. Supply chains snapped. Governments printed trillions to prop up systems. And inequality exploded as the cash-rich snapped up homes, stocks, and businesses, while the paycheck-to-paycheck drowned in debt. Eternal truth number 2. Plagues and shocks always reshuffle wealth. They punish the empty-handed and reward the prepared with liquidity. While pandemics show how jolts flip markets overnight, the fall of Venice's financial empire in the 1570s reveals another critical flaw. Even invincible powerhouses can collapse like a house of cards. Venice was Europe's banking capital, home to titan families like the Contarini and Morosini. They'd loaned fortunes to kings, most disastrously to Spain's Philip II, who defaulted on massive debts during his wars in the Netherlands. Payments stopped, Venetian banks imploded. Depositors wiped out, trade ground to a halt. The lagoon city, once dripping in wealth, spiraled into chaos. Ordinary citizens who trusted these grand institutions learned the hard way: size offers no safety, fame no guarantee. Eternal truth number 3. Too big to fail is a lie as old as trade itself. Entities exist for profit, not your security. When they crash, your money crashes with them. Echoes. Bear Stearns in 2008. Cyprus Bank grabs in 2013. The Mexican Revolution, 1910 to 1920, is remembered for battles and ideals, but its hidden war was monetary devastation. Both government and rebels needed cash for war, so they printed it wildly. Federals issued infalsificables, paper backed only by the Republic's word. Rebels churned out revelados in the provinces. At first, it seemed bold. Soon, floods of notes triggered hyperinflation. Prices multiplied thousands-fold, wages bought nothing. Soldiers' pay vanished before spending. Families lugged sacks of bills that couldn't buy a tortilla. By war's end, revolutionary currency was dead. What held value? Tangible stuff: land, food, real silver. Peasant savings obliterated. But those with physical access seized farms and resources for next to nothing. Eternal truth number 4. In chaos, your country will destroy its own money. Protect with things the state can't inflate away. Prussia in the 1920s offers a chilling speedrun of the same. After WWI and revolution, new leaders seized assets and issued Rentenmarks, supposedly backed by confiscated property. Instead, they overprinted. Hyperinflation hit. Prices doubled daily, wheelbarrows of cash for bread. Farmers rejected paper, demanding gold or barter. Berlin saw food riots. The system ate itself. Winners? Those with food, gold, or land unprintable essentials. Eternal truth number 5. Government promises are only worth what people still believe. When faith dies, your savings don't shrink, they vanish. Fast forward to 2008 Zimbabwe. A local currency raid snowballed into regional crisis. Zimbabwe borrowed heavily in foreign dollars, assuming stability. When the Zimbabwe dollar imploded, those debts became unpayable overnight. Investors fled. Currencies in Zambia, Botswana, Mozambique plunged. Jobs evaporated. Governments begged IMF. Worst hit: locals whose savings devalued and debts ballooned. Best off: anyone holding USD or offshore assets. It was a global wealth transfer in disguise. Eternal truth number 6. Debt in someone else's currency is a noose when storms hit. Borrowers sink while lenders scoop bargains. Venezuela from 2016 drives it home brutally close to today. Banks suddenly froze accounts, capped withdrawals, and the bolivar plunged over 95% in value. Lifetimes of work became pocket change. Middle-class families, doctors, teachers, anyone trusting the system lost everything, queuing for their own money that wasn't there. Eternal truth #7. Your bank deposit isn't a safe. It's an unsecured loan to an institution that can refuse repayment in crisis. Survivors: those diversified offshore in real assets like gold or foreign property. The pattern screams across eras. 1929 crash. Farms foreclosed while Wall Street got bailouts. 2020 pandemic. Trillions conjured, inflating assets for the wealthy as wages stagnated. 2022 Europe. Small banks folding when confidence wavered. Faithful losers. Skeptical winners. So how do you armor up? History gives no one-size-fits-all, but a clear playbook. Persia. Hoard pure precious metals. Post-Pax. Stay liquid to buy abandoned land cheap. Venice. Avoid over-reliance on any essential bank. Mexico. Stock durable goods and real estate. Prussia. Secure food sources and farmland. Africa. Shun foreign currency debt. **OSP. Diversify outside the system offshore tangible. The unifying chorus. Survival flows to unprintable, uncontrollable value. And here's the twist: collapse is tragedy and opportunity intertwined. For the unprepared, ruin. For the resilient, cash-ready, or asset-heavy, the chance to acquire empires for pennies. After 1929, liquid buyers snatched businesses as panic sellers dumped. History proves protection isn't just defense, it's positioning to claim what the desperate forfeit. True wealth goes beyond stuff, it's skills. Survivors weren't just gold hoarders, they were creators. The miller grinding grain, blacksmith forging tools, farmer feeding families, trader connecting markets, these never went hungry. When money fails, needs don't. People still want food, shelter, trade, life. Those who provide thrive eternally. The ultimate fortress, blend real assets, gold, land, goods, with real skills. Produce, build, trade, plus relentless awareness that all illusions shatter. Every crisis is a wealth conveyor belt, from trusting masses to foresighted few, from paper vows to solid substance, from passive savers to active creators. History carves this pattern endlessly. The question isn't if the next fall crash comes, it will. It's what you'll hold, empty promises or unbreakable reality. Dismiss the past, and it will crush you all the same. Embrace its lessons, and you'll not just survive, you'll emerge stronger. If this reframed your world, stay tuned, the ancients have more truths to unveil.